Hey, you did it. You're here. Welcome to the Growers Hangout. I'm Aaron. I'm here with my co-host Chris from Crop Culture and Pete from Heisenturf Brothers. What's going on, boys? How are you?
What's happening, man?
Man, it is man, what a weekend, huh?
What a weekend.
Did you guys have fun?
Yes.
It was one for the books.
It was a
Dude,
good one.
that was like dude. I I can't believe we pulled it off. It was pretty awesome. I'm super excited. I mean, it was awesome. We had Miles out. We did the class. What do you guys think of the class?
It's great.
The class was great. He covered a lot of information in that time, and I think the most important part is the resources that he's going to be providing after for those that attended the class, so people can go in and follow up on these things and learn more about these concepts and build on that foundation. But he's just a delightful person to be around and has such a positive energy that
Proper.
just exudes from him, and people just want to be around him. And you saw that everybody coming from driving up from the city, from deep out in the suburbs to come and meet him.
We had people drive from Minnesota, 5.5 hours. We had
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
people drive from Michigan and
Yep.
Wisconsin. Did you say Pennsylvania?
Somebody said they were from Pennsylvania at the event on Sunday.
Oh, well, okay. I thought you meant the class. I'm talking about the
Sorry.
class. No,
Yeah,
it's
the
okay.
class.
That is not surprising. Like
Yeah.
the events that we go to are pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
heck yeah. Dude, yeah, it was great. Let's talk about the Goat Cup. Because we were hanging out with Goat this weekend, as we were hanging out with Miles from Bleach Tastes Good. We were right next to Goat, and so we were all talking about like, this is what we're gonna do. And I think we got some videos. Let's. Do you want to do you first, Pete?
Yeah, definitely. Go
All
ahead.
right, bet.
So, yeah, I actually registered today for the Goat Cup, and I'm going to be entering the Bahama Tangerine.
Awesome.
And
That's it right
yeah,
there.
that's it right there. It's a clone off of the seed. The seed got a little bit too tall for me, and I didn't have a tent to put her in yet, so we cloned her, and
Nice.
she's looking real good. And if you're going to see some roots in there.
Oh, I like that trick. You do a clear one into a solo cup. That's interesting. I don't
Yeah.
think I've actually. I can't remember seeing that before.
I forgot who I got that off of, but I do like that. I mean, that way you can kind of check the roots and, check how far along they are as far as like getting root bound or whatnot. You can kind of see the color a little bit better and see if they're starting to die off a little bit. But yeah, man, the Bahama
Have you done that
Tangerine.
before, Chris?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The outer cup helps because you don't want to have direct light on the roots, so it's a great little trick to, like you said, keep an eye on the root structure and its health.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
I hadn't thought about that. Usually I pop in like big pots or big, big size. So
I know you like big pots.
I do like big pots. I like big, lots of soil. Give me lots of soil. You know what I mean? The more the better. Chris, you got one too, right? You want to look at this? You're doing so. Pete, you're gonna do the. Which one is it? The Bahama.
The Bahama Tangerine.
Bahama Tangerine. Okay, so that's got to be as Bahama runs crossed with the Goat Tangerine, right?
Correct. Yeah, and he said there's not that many entries that he knows of that's going to be going, so.
Yeah, so obviously mine's a little further along. We're flower day 60. The video, especially in this format, is not going to do it justice, but these buds are really filling out nicely, and they are beautiful. They are caked out like crazy. But the thing that I'm most excited about this plant that made it my favorite in the tent right now is the terps that are coming off of it. So this is a trop cherry cross with the Goat Tangerine, and for those that are familiar with the Goat Tangerine, they'll tell you there are very few strains out there that have a more potent aroma that come from it. It is just makes your eyes water if you take a big whiff of it.
Yeah, I have the Goat Tangerine. I was showing it off to people this week. In fact, I showed it off to all the weed off to Miles this weekend. It was all goat stuff, and he's like, "Dude, this stuff is fantastic." He really liked that grapefruit sorbet too.
Oh yeah, Yeah, I'm growing that one outside right now, and it's looking beautiful. The structure, the leaves are super dark green. It just looks awesome. So, yeah, but this one, the terps are the tangerine. They are just as strong as the tangerine. And I was telling Gothi, the other week, like if people didn't know about the tangerine and they smelled this first, they'd be like, "Holy shit!" Because it's so similar and like same in terms of the intensity and everything. So I'll be really curious to see as it goes on here the last probably week or flower or so if it starts to bring in any of the trop cherry characteristics. If the terps start to morph a little bit the way that the trop cherry did, how it goes from like a very sweet orange juice smelling early on, and then it kind of brings on a more of a pronounced gas at the end. So I'll be curious to see if it kind of transforms. But so far so good. I'm really excited about this one.
Oh yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Root Nerds, Anthony Rafferty, let's see, Ginny
Joseph.
Wheezy, Joseph, Canicas, Macho, obviously.
Macho. We saw Macho. We
What's
saw
going on,
Macho
everyone?
Aviator.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those homies this weekend. It was super fun. I got this
Do
one.
people got multiple screens going on?
This is my goat glue
I always
clone that I'm going to be entering in the cup. It's pretty.
She's looking good.
Yeah, I got that not long ago from Goat. He hooked me up with a cut, and yeah, I'm excited. I haven't grown it out yet. I've grown out a whole bunch of Goat stuff. Goat tangerine, grapefruit sorbet, his 89 bag seed white widow, and
Slurry.
and the Chi-Town slurry, which is just fantastic. So, but yeah, Goat glue. I've smelled Chris's.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So
Same.
we'll see. It's
excited
like
to see how you
October,
turn her
so
out.
like I was talking to Goat today. I was like, I gotta like write this down so I flower in time. Like, how much
Yeah.
do I have to have? Like, what do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Got to back into that timeline.
Yeah. So, how are you gonna grow yours? Pete, you said you're gonna grow yours with an autopot, right?
Yeah, well, those ones that Chris has from his crop culture box I've pre-ordered, they're coming in tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Welcome
get
to the
that
crop crew,
transplanted
Pete.
officially.
Pete. Yeah, Pete. You got a code now or what?
I don't think I have a code, but it's okay.
I mean,
I'll
he's in
use
the he's in
Oh,
the
Pete, I'll get you a
he's in
code
the
by the end of the show.
Instagram. He's in the Instagram crop crew chat now. So we have an Instagram crop crew chat that when we like to talk about Chris and how No, it's just like stuff for us to like mess around with, and we'll be like, hey, we should all remember to post this weekend or something. You know what I mean? Like, just BS about stuff. It's cool. And Pete's there now.
appreciate it.
And then we go,
man.
hey, it's Chris's birthday. We have to make a post. And then El Canister makes a great post for all of us. And it's all organized by him anyway. So whatever.
Oh man, Pete, it's not a slight on you. I'm gonna get you a code. I
Pete,
hope
you
didn't
should
think
have
that
one.
Was.
Heisenterp. Hell yeah.
I appreciate it. I'll do
So,
it. I'll push
Chris-
Of course, dude.
How are you gonna grow yours? Did I ask you that? Did you answer it and I forgot?
Nope.
Okay. Chris.
But you're asking me how I grew mine?
No. How are you planning on growing yours for the Goat Cup? What are you
Well,
doing
he just
for the
showed
Goat
us
Cup?
it.
Yeah, that's already on day 60 of flower. That's what I'm entering.
You're gonna save that all the way till October?
Absolutely.
He's gonna
Wow.
No,
cure
I'm
that
just kidding.
motherfucker.
I have
I'm
I
like,
have
damn,
I
you're
have it
confident, son.
I got it vegging in my living soil bed right now, actually.
Okay. In the 2x2?
I was able to take a clone of that and mess with Goat a little bit because I had given him a clone of it earlier, a rooted clone, several weeks back before I flipped it to flower. And he said he thought he may have seen something on it, so he's like, I'm not going to risk it, so he pitched it. And I got back to him a couple weeks later. I'm like, dude, I flipped it to flower like 10 days ago, and it already smells crazy like tangerine. He's like, fuck, of course it does. I'm like, I think it's a winner. So, yeah, I was able to keep that cut. It's,
That's awesome.
I'm going to probably flip that tent to flower. I have my peonia in that tent, along with Pure Michigan and the tangerine drop cherry cross. So
I need to come over and play in your 2x2 bed and grab a handful of worms. By the way,
Oh,
you've
me
got,
too.
you've got
Count
too
me
many,
in.
and I need a handful.
I have none.
Yeah, they are doing really well. Even my earth boxes are like, I actually think I might have to swap out the soil now because it's all castings at this point.
Yep.
Um,
Half
so
castings, half roots.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. Pretty much.
I just did that on a couple of earth boxes. I was like, man, it was just a lot of roots, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna put these over here and let them chill for a couple months, and then I'll just shake them out and put this over here and this stuff over here and throw
Yeah.
this in the Bokashi bed or something. You know what I mean?
The Earthbox Junior, you can get
Yes.
2 runs out of it. I've already tested this. If you have healthy, active worms, red wigglers specifically, it basically just became a block of castings after the second run. It actually started showing signs of deficiency in the last run that I had, just because it was just kind of depleted from other resources. So
Did you put only one box or one plant in it?
one plant, yeah.
Okay.
They were both pretty big though, and the worms were going absolutely bonkers by the end of it. I emptied it into my larger bed outdoors, and it's kind of spread everything out a little bit. I harvested the worms and the castings from that, and put it in my big bed, and then put the rest of it outside. So
That's awesome. Remind me to talk to you. I got an idea about Growers Hangout stuff at your outdoor stuff later. But hey, Chris, do you want to intro our new friend?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's backstage. He's ready. I saw him looking at some hash or some rosin or something. Yeah, but I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah, friend to me, a friend to all. Gabe Wilson, former U.S. Army vet and
I think he's
outstanding
still a
living
vet.
soil grower. Yes. What did I say?
You said former vet.
No, I said former U.S. military.
Okay, you're right.
U.S. Army. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He's a veteran. Yeah. Once a vet, always a vet, right?
Yeah, here we go.
Let's bring him on.
Let's bring him on.
I didn't
Gabe
prep
Wilson.
an intro. Aaron does this to me. He like puts me on the spot. He's like, Chris, you want to take over? And it's like, no.
I'm just making space for my friends. What's up, Gabe? How are you, brother?
Hey, buddy.
What's up, guys? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on here. First of all,
Heck yeah.
I'm tickled pink, man. Follow all you guys, and I think there's something to be said about synchronicity. And I love what you guys are doing, and super stoked that you guys started this. So, yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. We've been interacting for a while now, like over a year, I think. Just like both living soil growers, and then like I looked at your actual profile one day, and I was like, oh, he works for BuildaSoil. That's pretty freaking cool. You know, and so we've just always kept in contact because we love BuildaSoil anyway. So here we are, man. And dude, I'm so excited to get 99 Widows and 99 Moons in the crop culture box and be able to grow those out. Yeah, right there.
Dude, I cannot wait. Honestly, I had no idea or no intention or anything of making this like a something to be distributed. I've always just shared my seeds and my clones and stuff with my friends and coworkers, and here I am. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chris, what do you have to say about including the seeds in your box?
Yeah, so obviously, Gabe, you're my dude. I totally vibe with you. Even though we've never met in person, I feel like when we first started interacting, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be friends with this guy. We have so much in common. I feel like beyond just our connection of both being vets, and you're a family guy, I'm a family guy, and we got the growing connection, obviously. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to have you included in this box, because you're as much a part of BuildaSoil's success as anybody else, and you're making incredible plants. I mean, we see your genetics flowered out, and they're absolutely beautiful. So it was actually, just a very easy decision to have you included in the box, and I was super happy that you were, willing to jump on board and share your genetics with people. So, yeah.
Thanks. Like I said, originally I was just kind of sharing it with the BuildaSoil crew. So, I'm honestly, I'm glad. Like I said, this is, I've spoken on this probably before in the past, but community is everything. And I honestly think that like the more that we can share this and the more that people like us specifically have a voice in this space, also specifically with home growers. I mean, we're coming on like a grand revolution, I think, within America. Honestly, a lot of us kind of were like smoking behind the bleachers when we were teenagers and we were younger, and it was like a low key thing where you were like either kind of in because you knew and you were just in versus like not, and now we can share this with everybody, and so that's I don't know, man. I like it.
No,
I like the ability to share it.
I love that. We always talk about like just putting ourselves out there and just doing the thing. I live by, if it is to be, it's up to me. Like I can't count on anybody else to do it. I have to get out there and do it. And
Right.
just community is so cool because everybody is a misfit in some way, and everybody's searching for something. And cannabis as a plant just kind of brings us together, and it's really cool to be able to like spread that out and have that common thread with other people that are part of your same community. You know what I mean? Even if they're thousands of miles away, it's awesome what the plant does to like really spread itself through us, with us, by us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So how did you
so,
kind of get into BuildaSoil? I kind of got the background info from Aaron, and I was curious, like, what kind of made you make that jump career-wise to BuildaSoil, and like, how did you find that?
Yeah, it was probably honestly like a progression thing. For the most part, I left the military, and as soon as I left the military, I found out that my mom had cancer, and that was a pretty big hit for me because she was in the military. She spent like 20 years in the Army. And, she was a big reason why I enlisted into the Army. And it was like, I don't want to say like, oh, how the great have fallen, but it's more along the lines of like watching a great battle in something that I wasn't used to, right? Like over a decade in the military, you can see the enemy. And so, you kind of have an idea of how to attack the enemy. With my mom, it wasn't like that. And she was battling chemotherapy and all kinds of stuff. And it was weird because she tried cannabis and all of a sudden she could eat again. She was gaining weight again. Chemo was just sucking her. And then on top of that, in the commercial side of things, she was spending like a mortgage on cannabis, and it didn't make sense to me. I was like, how the fuck is this? How is this so expensive? Like, this is a plant. Like, I can grow this, Mom. Like I'll figure out how to grow it. I'll just grow it. And so that's what I did. I got out and I started growing it in her basement at her house for her. And I think my first cycle, I was like, just in a tent. Actually, it was in a closet. I hadn't even moved to the tent. And then after the first cycle, I found out, oh yeah, you can like do light changes. You have 2 grows at the same time. And so after that very first cycle, I think it was like 2017. After that, I was just like growing perpetually. And the transition to BuildaSoil was probably, I went to a grow shop. Some people call them hydro stores, but I call it a grow shop because that's really what it is. It's not just hydro. And I ran into this dude named Dan Ramsey, and the guys that were there at his store, and he was just like, he had this really awesome vibe. And so I started hanging around the shop, and obviously I was hungry for like all the knowledge, like any other, brand new grower. We're all just like super hungry for knowledge. And so that's what I did. I just hung out there as much as possible. I get off work and I go straight down to the grow shop and I talk to those guys and I'd stay in the store and I'd read labels and do it all. And then Dan was like, hey, man, you know, you're here quite a bit. You might as well get paid while you're here. I was like, well, shit. All right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And so then I signed on and I started working for him, did that for a couple of years. And during that time, at some point, I really started taking an interest in BuildaSoil, and I started using their products. And before I had grown like every type of way that I could get my hands on, right? Rock wool, cocoa, deep water culture. Like I tried everything, right? Because I was hungry. And I ended up using BuildaSoil and watching Jeremy on the YouTube channel. Actually, at this point, he didn't even have his YouTube channel. It was like this educational series that was just on the website. And so I signed up as soon as he released that and announced it. I signed up and I think I binge watched like every episode within like a night or two. And then he did the YouTube channel and I got hooked on that. And so I was just using the products and creating my own living soil and mixing his recipes and additives. And it was just, I don't know, it kind of evolved from there. And I spent some time in the commercial space. I ended up leaving National Order Supply and went into the commercial side of things and, you know, did some sales all over the Western Colorado and was in and out of dispos. And eventually I just landed. Dan ended up actually landing in BuildaSoil first. And I think like 3 or 4 weeks after he landed there, they were like, hey, we need somebody to take over the soil facility. And I guess apparently Dan threw my name in the hat and he was like, hey, man, I know this guy. And so I came down there and they gave me an interview and hired me right there on the spot. And the rest is kind of history.
He's like, you can lead teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Man.
That's awesome. So you're the soil production manager or director, or
yeah,
you know, whatever is appropriate. Right?
You know, official title is soil production director. I'm one of the.
I know.
I'm one of the dudes. Yeah, I'm just one of the dudes.
I was the field superintendent. I was also the dude who gets everything done. I know exactly how that goes. So like respect.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, like do I have to fix the machine? Do I have to bag it? Do I have to hand mix it? Like what do we got to do? Got to get it done.
That's exactly right. Yeah, put your hands in every place that you can. And team player, I mean, I literally do everything from take out the trash to build soil, to jump on the computer and do admin stuff, meetings, you know, like whatever needs to be done for BuildaSoil. Like that's where it's at. But
and you're answering stuff on like your personal Instagram all day. I see you like,
yeah,
well, not like all day, but like you're very accessible to like people like ask you stuff. I'm not saying you don't work. I'm just or implying that you don't work. I'm just saying like, dude, you're like around answering questions. It's like incredible.
You know, honestly, that's probably more a Jeremy thing than anything, because I didn't really jump on social media or Instagram until like kind of recently, like a year or two ago. But Jeremy has this kind of philosophy of transparency, right? And like you can see it. You can catch the vibes just by watching YouTube, right? Like he just talks. It's not filtered. Like sometimes he cuts little things to make the videos shorter, but he doesn't like edit shit. And the same thing with like the soil and the recipes and like what we do in the facility. He's just transparent. And so I think that it's important, and he's shown me kind of, I don't know, vicariously through him, I've seen that he's accessible. And, you know, if in the military, Chris, you'll relate to this, but like lead from the front, damn it. You know, if you're a leader and you're going to be the CEO of a company, like you better be the fucking standard. And Jeremy is the standard, right? Like he's got high expectations and he moves really fast, and he's respectful about the way he moves around the company. So like, why would you not gravitate towards that?
So yeah, 1,000%. You know, you just got to get in there and do it. And you know, what I really enjoy about Jeremy and BuildaSoil and you and other people that I try to emulate is I try to be genuine and consistent. You know, I think those things, I try to put my head down and do the work and just do what I do. just like Jeremy is standing in front. And he's like, I've got time this morning. I'm drinking this coffee. It's getting cold. I've got to do this. Here's your video. Like, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And it just is what it is. And he's honest. Like,
Yeah.
how can you not love that?
Yeah, I think I got to watch your guys' episode with Miles, and he brings a really interesting philosophy of like the soil inherently has this like organic vibe with it, right? Like he talks about like cannabis is always with us. He goes all over the place. That dude moves. Like he's a hustler. Don't like take that.
Oh,
for
yeah.
I mean, I know you guys won't, but to anybody that's listening, like don't ever take Miles for granted. That guy hustles. He puts in the work, and he has this like different vibe and aura that also follows him. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of that is like has to do with the herb,
Yeah.
and Jeremy and a lot of us. I mean, shit, Jeremy said today to me, birds of a feather, man.
That's right. That's right. I mean, real recognizes real, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
I say that to Chris all the time. I'm like, dude, just keep your head down, keep focused. Real recognizes real. You're doing great stuff. Same to you,
Yeah.
man. Like doing great stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I love that sweater that Chris has got on, man. I love the whole brand.
Thank you. That was supposed to kind of be like an enlightening humor, like comical thing, and then so many people liked it that it was like, man, probably just needs to stick.
I've got a Dunkin' Donuts one that I'm running around in my head.
Nice.
I'm a
Dig it.
Dunkin' guy. Like it's Dunkin' every morning. Like I gotta get up, I gotta get my Dunkin' coffee, and like without that, ain't nothing getting done.
I
Nothing's
feel you.
getting done,
Yeah.
bro. And I can't do like Starbucks coffee. It's like that burnt, like nah.
It's so full of sugar, man. That's the one thing I'll say is like, if I go over to
Yeah.
Starbucks and cold brew,
Yeah.
like I'll for us it's a road trip thing because my wife
Yeah.
loves it. But I'll just go cold brew. I'll just tell them just a little splash of cream. Like that's all I want. Cold brew with a splash of cream, and like I'm good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just rather do it myself. So.
I hear you. I mean, Dunkin's great. I can't complain about that.
It's America's coffee, right? Or like America's coffee shop, right?
America runs on Dunkin'.
Yeah, American runs on Dunkin'.
America runs on Dunkin'. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's at least the thing. I'm gonna load up a little hash that tastes good in my proxy.
There you go.
Got
yeah.
an old school Puffco Pro. It's
Nice.
I like this one because it had like this little limited edition like.
Oh, I remember
glass
that
piece?
one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This is like when they
that
first came out, man, and it's been tried and true. I don't even know how many years I've had this, but I've had it a while.
Those were like $4.50 when they first came out because they had the like special crystal grass
Yeah.
on them. I remember that. They made some cool ones with like some wide mouth. What were they, Chris? Like the wide, like canister that you put them in, the XL for the insert for the ceramic
The
insert.
chamber.
Yeah, the chamber. That's the word I was looking for. I can think of every word except for chamber. But oh yeah. So
Gabe, I got a question for you, man.
Okay, you can do it.
Please shoot.
Well, I feel like my military experience made me into a pretty well-rounded person, I like to think. And I feel at the point in my life when I was in, it was really pivotal. And I feel like all of the success that I've had has kind of stemmed from that military experience, those values that were kind of instilled in me, because I didn't go in just like having them inherently there. I mean, it's you're beaten down in basic training, you're stripped of your humanity, and they build you up in their vision. But whether you agree with the practices or not, leaving with the value of integrity and all these things, and being dependable and reliable, and all these things are so important, I think, in civilian life. And I just wanted to know what were some of those values and practices that you took with you that led you to build a soil and like how you applied in your garden as well.
I think like it's funny. I think I can still remember them: loyalty, duty, honor, integrity, respect, personal courage, and selfless sacrifice. I don't know, maybe a little bit of all of them, right? Like, I liked loyalty because loyal to the soil, right? I thought that was honestly, when I came onto the team, I thought that was like the funniest thing in the world. It was like loyal to the soil, and loyalty was just like, it struck a chord for me. And then like shortly after I was there, we had this big meeting, and Jeremy kind of led from the front. He was like, look, we need to change some things here in the company, and we've got new blood, and so right now is like the perfect time to change things. And so he did. He made the decision to make big moves, and he created this essentially core values system. And I think it couldn't have been better because it worked along the lines of like what you're saying. He was like, let's all get together and let's hash this out and figure out exactly what core values we want BuildaSoil to stand for. Like, we've done it for the last 10 years, but right now we're in a point of growth and change, and we need to like reorganize and find out, like, are we still in touch with these core values? Do we need to change some, keep some? Like, what do we still agree with? What's going on here? And so he, kind of led it, and we all agreed as a team, like all the directors and managers and stuff. And I'm kind of looking up here at the list, but dependable, Kaizen, initiative, integrity, passion, mindful, and last of all is fun. And him and Dan, Dan's a operations director over there, and he's also coincidentally the guy that I worked for in the past. And I thought it was like so characteristic of him to be like, no, we have to put fun in there. Like, if things aren't fun, like, what the fuck are we doing?
That's damn right.
Jeremy was like right in line with that, and so it just stuck. And I think that just having, it doesn't even have to necessarily be like the core values from the military or the core values that we landed on. I just think like, as long as you have a basis of core values that you want to live by, that's what's important. And I think that the military instilled that in you and I, and that's probably part of like why we are who we are. But I've also met people that have never spent, a single day in the military in any way, shape, or form. And it's like they still are just born with these inherent core values that just make them a fucking great person.
Yep.
And it's also strange because I find that all over in this community. When I was leaving the military, I was seeking and trying to find this community, right? I felt like I lost one community, all my brothers and sisters, and I was trying to find like something that felt empty inside of me. And I found it immediately within the community of stoners.
Yep.
And I was like, well, fuck, go figure. Like, these were the people that I hung out with in high school. Like, these are the people that I hung out with before. And why did I hang out with them? Kind of like you said, it was like, I don't want to say outcast necessarily, but kind of outcast, right? Like, not everybody thought it was cool to smoke pot behind the bleachers, but for some reason we all did, and we all vibed together when we did that, and we all had a good time. We came to like common ground, even as teenagers. And teenagers, like, when people are really divisive, but we weren't that way. And I find that in adults too. And I think that that's kind of like the military. It was like it all translated. You know what I mean? And then when I came to BuildaSoil, it was just like, oh shit, like this is my gang. It just immediately felt natural. I didn't have to try.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that. And there's so many veterans that leave the military and they have such a hard time assimilating into civilian life because I don't think if you've never been in the military, I think there's very few places where you're going to get the same level of camaraderie that you get. Like you'll see it in professional sports locker rooms or firefighters or police, but it's a very very limited environment outside of the military where you get this camaraderie where if somebody calls you at 4 a.m. and they need a ride and they're 2 states over, you just go and get them. And you don't really get that in civilian life, so it's a hard transition for people. But and I know that not everybody lives in a legal state, so that makes it harder. But for those of us that are, when you find that grow shop and you find that community the way that we have, man, it just it really does fill that void. Definitely.
We're lucky that we found the community that we have and that we have the community that we have here. Like it's like just popped up out of nowhere and it's just been kind of crazy, you know.
I 100% agree. It's changed my life totally.
I mean the growers out here and the living soil growers that are out here just I don't know. There's probably got to be like 100 of us out here, 50 to 100 of us. I mean, there's enough to support a couple of BuildaSoil stores, like within the area. So, like, dang, I'm just excited to see what we keep doing because I feel like it's just building, growing, spreading out. I mean, Chris and I are coming to Colorado in November.
It's gonna be so sick, dude. I don't know how to express how anxious I am for this to happen.
We are too, trust me.
Miles already told us, he's like, you may want to cancel your hotel because Friday night we're going to go here and then Saturday night we're going here and you guys are coming with and these are the vibes and
well,
everything
he's
is
right.
proper. Everything is proper.
Yep. Well, when he talks about Paonia,
yes,
it is without a doubt a little gem in the Western Slope. I mean, the Western Slope is a gem anyhow, but specifically Paonia is without a doubt a little gem that like not very many people know about, but it's wonderful.
Dude, I'm super excited. I'm trying to figure out how I can come in a day earlier so I can try and play some disc golf. And then I'm also really worried because I know disc golf in the above sea level is way different than what I play. So
yeah,
good times.
Yeah, I'm totally a novice disc golfer. Like I won't even pretend. Like I try, but I'm not very good.
I'm actually really bad, but I play disc golf like 3 or 4 times a week. I just happen to play with people who are way better than me, like people who play on the pro tour. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got some cool people out in this community. This is one of the like OG disc golf communities that had courses and stuff like that. Gateways from like St. Louis, so like we got a strong gateway presence here. We had one of the first courses in the United States in like the 70s, not far from us. Yeah.
Wow.
If you ever get out this way, we can go to some cool ass disc golf courses.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Shout out to Delwood. It's like the number 13 course in the world or in the United States. Is like 30 minutes from us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's in Lockport. So in Lockport, it was big locks. So this is like all used to be like underwater, and it was like a lake and like picnic area. And then they drained it with the locks going away, and now it's like the canyons. And it's like beautiful. It's like destination. Yeah. I'm sure it's just as beautiful as like when you walk outside in Colorado. That's what we have to deal with. We gotta go to the park. Or we're looking at cornfields,
Yeah, that's where it's at, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, but dude, we can't wait to come in November. I almost came last year, but I was gonna come by myself, and I was like, nah, I'm too weird. I'm not gonna go by myself. And I talked to Chris earlier this year, and he's like, yeah, I'm in. So like, yeah, dude, it's gonna be fun.
No, it's gonna be epic, man. Last year was epic. I felt actually really blessed because I was kind of the newer guy on the team, and they were like, "No, man, you're good. Like, come over here and help us judge. We need your opinion. We value it." I was like, "All right, cool." So I jumped in, and just couldn't have said any better vibes. And again, shout out to Miles because that guy put on one hell of an event. Like from the coordination to like who was coming to, we had people from literally all over the world.
Yep.
That came to this thing, and all over the country, and some great herb, not so great herb, but
I heard you guys. So last year, Super Boof won.
Yeah, Super Boof won.
So on the Western Slope, you guys are like almost sheltered by like whatever is going on out here and in the East Coast, huh?
Yeah, so I'll be honest. Like the thing about the Western Slope is it is a tight community, and everybody has kind of like their own little niche, and they share it within the community that's
Yeah.
here. Like nobody just
Support dope people.
not many people just go out and get the hype strains and then bring them over
Right.
here, right? Like everybody's creating kind of their own vibe here. And yeah, so Super Booth was actually kind of nice. There's a couple of people that said that they had tried it and they talked to me about it. They're like, wait till you see it. Like there's a lot of purples and clears and whites that like it's gonna be cool. You break it open, you'll see purples. I was like, okay, cool. We'll see it.
Ask Miles
But
next time you see him if he's got any of that Super Booth rosin left from Chicago.
Pretty legit, huh?
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. So we gave him a care package, you know, when he came into town. So
Of course.
there's
Yeah.
some stuff from Archive out of Michigan that's great.
Pristine. I like it.
Just,
That's awesome.
You know, yeah.
Yep.
So it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah. So what are you guys big on right now? Like what's big in Colorado right now? Like I know the one is real big right now, and you've got a cut of the one, and I want to ask you about that later. But what's
Okay.
big in Colorado? Since we're coming to the Living Soil Cup, just in case we want to
Boy.
change our minds on what we're going to enter.
I would say what's big around here, BuildaSoil's like, I mean, as you can imagine, like BuildaSoil's at this point, like they're a national kind of
Mecca.
branded staple, right?
I call
Yeah.
it Mecca for living soil growers this weekend.
Yeah.
And that's
So
kind of how I feel.
I mean, with that said, like anything from Aw-Kid, Dave kills it. Anything from Weed Should Taste Good, Miles kills it.
Yep.
I mean, there's several of them that are out there. But there's some new. I don't want to talk too much about it, but there's some new stuff in the shoots that are going to come down. Some people are bringing some stuff back, and I don't know. It should be fun. I think right now is like a lot of crosses that are like in-house type crosses. It's people that are crossing stuff that you're familiar with other stuff that you're familiar with, and it makes sense. And like I said, everybody. This is a community where over here it's a community where like everybody seems to be a grower, and everybody breeds, but they don't shout about it. Like when you go on Instagram, a lot of people shout about being breeders. And here it's like people pass around genetics and they're fucking great. They might not.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do a lot of negativity online and negative and engagement farming, and it's all it turns me off so much. That's why I haven't had Facebook in like, I don't know, 9 years or something, 8 years. Like I just can't, you know what I mean? It just turns me off so much. It feels so like not what we're about.
Yeah. It needs to be rising tides, man. Like that's our community, rising tides, right? Like
this is all ships.
The negativity can get out. Like we need positivity. We need to lift each other up. And that's the way this gets better, especially now because we're on this weird cusp where like things are legalizing and politicians are making rules. And we all need to some freaking extent, some way, somehow, we all need to come together and support each other and start voting on this legislation to make these rules the way they should be. Right. And that comes down like it's state by state. Like I know Colorado is like kind of the OG commercial market. California is kind of the OG medical market. But look, this was legalized. Colorado's got a really great home grow market and home grow policy or set of rules because the people here voted on it, right? And that needs to be expressed through platforms like you guys have created here, where like everybody needs to understand, look, that being somebody that's proactive is not just jumping on Instagram and shouting your voice. Being proactive is going down there to the voting booths and voting on shit that makes sense, and then talking to your neighbors down the street about shit that makes sense, right? It's not just sitting there jumping on Instagram and throwing out your opinion, because we've all got them. It doesn't matter. Are you going to go down to the booth? Are you going to actually vote? Are you going to actually do it and be proactive and like be involved? Talk to your community, your local community, your state community. That's what matters.
I advocate on my other podcasts for people to get involved with advocacy groups because I think that's the only way that we're going to be able to change bad policy that is going on in our state. Because what the lawmakers actually care about, they care about money. Always follow the money, or they care
That's
about
right.
people showing up. And if you don't have the money to throw at them and to hire lobbyists like GTI did, you know, to stall the bill and pull the medical. Basically, in Illinois, we have 55 medical dispensaries. That's
Okay.
all there's ever been.
Wow.
No plans to add more. Since
Wow.
2020, it went rec. All they care about is rec taxes. You know what I mean? So you have to get involved because GTI basically our law was going to be that all dispensaries would be medical dispensaries. Every medical card holder would be able to shop at any rec. GTI hired 12 lobbyists Saturday on Memorial Day, said, hey, everybody's going to hate you if you do this. And so they did nothing. So we've got nothing passed. And so we're again stuck at 55 medical dispensaries. And the only way to change that is to show up with your advocacy group who's know fighting on your sides. And
that's right.
Hopefully we can also co-opt their stuff so they'll co-opt some of our stuff as far as working with our home grow laws, because those are another thing that are just kind of crazy. We get a maximum of 5 plants over 5 inches if you have a medical card. That's it.
Right. Wow. Yeah, we're really fortunate here in the state of Colorado. That with that said, I think we can have like 6 plants in flower, a total of 12. You can have like 6 plants per person, but if you have 2 adults and one domicile, then it increases it to 12. But if you've got medical cards, I've seen it go up to 28 plants. I mean, it kind of depends, but just the bare fact that you can have 12 plants at any residence that's got a normal husband or wife or partners or whatever it is, two adults that are responsible at their house. You can grow 6 plants outside in flower and 6 in veg, and you can do perpetual growth. Like I shout. At least I try and shout as much as I can. I've done the perpetual growth thing since 2017. I've had living roots, whether they're in cocoa or soil or whatever it is, but I've had at least 2 grow spaces, a veg and a flower, nonstop since 2017. I have no idea how many freaking, rounds that is, but it's a lot. And, I try and shout like, look, overgrow is a thing, right? Like keep your grows going, keep your genetics, trade them and pass them with friends, give your clones to your friends, get them into growing. It doesn't matter. Like obviously I advocate for soil, but more than advocating for soil, I advocate for growing, right? And that's the thing. And to each their own. Everybody has their own style. I've got a buddy that's really analytically minded, and he will probably be hydro till the day dies. But he grows fire herb hydro too, and he's very like analytically minded. And if that's what works for him, then that's what works for him. But that's what I would say is like try and grow.
Because at least you've been reading my diary. Like these are all things I feel like I always say too. Like whatever way you grow is fine. If you grow weed that's good enough and it works for you, and you grow weed that's good enough that you want to like go over to your boy's house and be like, yo, let's smoke this weed, then you're doing great, man. Keep it up. Like that's right. Okay. That's right.
That's right.
But
that's right.
Weed should taste good, and you gotta learn how to flush those salts, because I feel like I can taste them. Other people I know feel like they can taste them. Salt people say I don't taste it, and I go, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like I like organically grown living soil where I don't have to pH stuff and I don't have to spend all my time. I can just like go in there and like defoliate and play with my earth box and play with my tray to grow and like do the stuff that is fun about gardening. And then you can also be successful, because I think most people want to be successful at things, and that's the other thing that living soil has enabled me to do is like, because I have a water issue at the spot, so like pH, blah blah. It's just there's always lockout. It sucks. Now I can use RO, a lot of soil. I can go in there. I can do the thing. I can be successful. I think people need to find something to be successful at that they can do every day. Like wake up and have a purpose. You know what I mean? Like do the thing. And like to be successful at it and to grow fire is like, man, that makes you feel good about your life, and that can make you feel good about other things. You know, that's like what the plant can do for us without the CBD or THC. Just cultivating the plant. You know what I mean?
That's right. No, you're 100% right, and it is something that like it's in your blood per se. It's so weird because I didn't like the very first time I ever grew. I was like 17 or 18, and I tried to grow weed on this like ditch up on Glade Park in this rancher's area, and the cows ended up like trampling all over it, and it was horrible. And I was a teenager, so I like picked it up out of the dirt, and I was like, let's go smoke this on the weekend. It was fucking horrible, right? But years down the line, I tried growing it again, and I didn't have anything other than grass in my backyard and like the trees that were there. And now I've got like full blown gardens, raised beds. Like I'm trying to put as many raised beds in as I can. Like my wife is completely head over heels into it. My kids even go out to this garden and they eat fresh vegetables straight off the vine and the stalk. And like, there's something that's tangible about that. And I try telling people like, look, and I'm not picking on hydro when I say this, right? Like I said, to each their own, because my buddy grows fire herb. But I will say this is like, go to your local produce store and go grab a tomato and take a bite out of the tomato, and then grow a tomato in your own soil in your backyard and grow it out, and then take a bite out of that tomato, and you tell me which one you prefer.
I mean,
in a nutshell, that's weed.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, I'll probably say this till the day I die. I would rather consume cannabis from my friend, knowing how it's grown and knowing that it's grown with love. Like the love and effort that they put into, because I know what it takes to do that. Like I'd rather do that than smoke dispensary weed or, you know, anything. Like why? Like what reason, man?
Well, and I've got great friends that work in the dispos still, right? Like I've got a mentor actually that works in the dispos right now. And you know, I don't pick on this because I understand that like not everybody's a gardener. I understand that not everybody has a garden that they can do. Like people live in apartments, people share domiciles. Like I get it. Access to the plant needs to be a thing, and that's the purpose and the place where, you know, dispensaries fit that, right? There's always going to be that person that's just like, yeah, I want to drink Bud Light. Well, fair enough, bro. If Bud Light's your thing, like go drink Bud Light, man. I have no problem with that.
It's literally what I drink when I have to, because it doesn't taste like anything. But that's why I like it, you know?
Exactly. It's predictable, right? And that's the one thing that like you can say commercial grows, they do have it dialed down, is like they can replicate over and over and over the consistency, and you can expect something every time. And I acknowledge that and actually appreciate that. For us, it's not always that way, right?
Right. I mean, they're, you know, the co-host of my other podcast is the GM of a dispensary. Like, he was the GM when it was before rec, and like, so we're really focused, and he is really focused on like helping people take their health back into their own hands using cannabis and CBD, which is, I think, is super important. Like, I think everybody should be doing that. You should be taking effective dosing of CBD. You should be taking like 50 milligrams a day, not this like 5 milligram. I want like be on a sustained dose of 50 milligrams a day. Tell me how you feel in 45 days after you've journaled. Like let's talk about efficacy. Yeah, like saturate your system. Tell me how you feel. Actually regulate your endocannabinoid system. Know your terpenes. Know what you need for what you need. You know, like let's use hemp. Let's use hemp instead of, you know, just trying to smoke weed all the time. Let's use whole hemp seed oil. We have people out here who have that, and whole hemp seeds and whole hemp seed powder now, which I think is really cool. Flavored powder, whole hemp seed.
Yep.
come on.
Yeah,
Like, these
smoothie
are,
additive right there, bro.
yeah, these, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, these are the things we need to be like, especially as organic growers. Pete, we're getting him there. He's almost
I'm organic,
100%. He's
just
almost
not
100%
fully
build
build the
soil.
soil, but I'm getting there. We're waiting for
but
the
we're getting
pre-order.
Well, Pete, I'll tell you what, I grew veganically in cocoa for a long time, and
Yeah,
I love that style of growing actually still, even to this day. Like I'd
yeah,
go and throw some pots together right now, and something about veganic and preloading your cocoa and then just adding teas here and there and microbes, like good Lord. I've grown some stuff that's absolute fire. Like I put it up against anything anybody has.
yeah. I like the veganic. I did the whole line. I thought it was decent. I didn't like it in Ocean Forest, but you know, yeah,
Right?
that didn't work out for me. But yeah,
Right?
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever go anything but like super soil, living soil ever again, because it's just,
Yeah.
once you like get it down, it's, once you understand watering. I think a lot of people struggle with watering, and I know you and I have talked about that too, like
Yeah.
Earthbox versus
Yeah.
like 90 gallons or more, and then watering by volume.
Yeah.
I think the number one thing I see with my friends who grow living soil is they don't water by volume. They're
Right.
still like cocoa watering and trying to
Right.
get dry back, which is,
Right.
if you need dry back to kill gnats, then like just get your get the whole thing in sync, it'll be fine.
Yep. Yep.
That's how I feel about it, right?
Yep. I've got this funny little like trick that I've done with my 4x8 bed that I've been doing for a few years now. And I essentially took my grassroots 4x8 bed and I sunk it into a flood tray. And so this 4x8 flood tray, I can put a water spout down in the corner of it, and it almost turns this into like a giant earth box, right? Because you pour it in there, I can wait till the water rises up, and then it just sustains this water. And when I watch the water go down and it disappears, I'm like, all right, sweet, I'll add a little bit more in. But the key to this is the surface actually stays kind of dry. And so I never have a fungus gnat problem. And I can dig a little bit and I can always find worms. And I have my little roly polies driving rolling all over the place. And I don't ever have to worry about them, like the population getting out of control or not, because it self regulates. And I don't know, man. There's like all these little funny things. I saw you guys talking about the clear cup in the like a solo cup in a solo cup. That's quite literally my favorite way to give out clones to my friends. Like I'll literally take solo cups. I do the exact same thing. I can watch how much water is there. I can watch the roots grow. I can tell my friends like, hey, this is like, this is the root situation. This is how new or old the clone is. And it's perfect for sharing, but it's also perfect for just like understanding the water level, because you can see it, because it's clear. You can see how saturated that soil is. You can watch the root zone, and then you can also watch the plant develop as well. And so you can see like the clone when it's dropping its leaves, when it's raising its leaves, and you can kind of watch just by picking up that cup. Dude, it's an awesome trick. I'm glad that you found it. Actually, it's super sick.
I think we need, because like all the friends that I know have so many plants right now, that I couldn't even give them a clone. Like I don't even have any friends that I could give clones to. They'd be like, I don't have room, dude. I have like.
How your circle is doing really good.
Yeah,
good problem to have.
We got to get some new growers, man. We got to get some more friends. Chris, what are we doing with our lives? Pete, what are we doing? Let's go.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody was like, yo, I've got clones if you got room. And I'm like, no, it's same thing. If you got room, I got clones.
Our friend at the class on Saturday brought a clone. He's like, I got this blueberry crossed with white widow slurricane clone. Does anybody want it? I don't know. It was something. And everybody's like, no. 30 people were
Pretty
like,
sure, yeah, he went home with it.
But I mean, that's good. You shouldn't take clones from people anyway. That's how you get bugs.
Yeah.
That's why you got to pop seeds every day, right?
Yep, that's right. As many as possible.
That's right.
Variety's the spice of life.
That's true.
Yep. Chris, I got a question for you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What in the world made you jump down this path of the crop culture box? I've been meaning to ask you this for a long time.
No, this is perfect.
Yeah. So these bins behind me, They're filled with seeds, and most of them were acquired before crop culture started. So, in my day job, I'm a marketing strategist, and my core responsibility is to see problem, fix problem. It is everything has a solution, and I kind of like broke down my situation, and I'm like, well, I have more seeds than any human could possibly get through. So I kind of looked at what the community was needing, what was the product or the service, or what crop culture is kind of both, that fills a need for a large amount of people. And it was new growers that were coming on and going down the same paths that I was going on, that all of us probably did, listening to some degree, and going and buying white labeled seeds because they went on Google and they were directed to a sponsored blog post or something like that, and they didn't know any better. They didn't know the right resources to go for information. They didn't know that you don't have to spend $300 on a pack of seeds to get great quality. So there's just very little transparency in the marketplace right now, and people are getting scammed and ripped off left and right. And I wanted to, I had the desire to kind of like create a resource for people to know that whatever they buy from me, know that it's been tested by somebody that actually gives a shit about quality and has standards, and that it's something that I would use personally, and that I put my stamp of approval on. Every brand that I work with, every breeder that I work with, I try to make sure that they're not just putting out quality products, but they're also quality people. And it's really important for me, if I'm going to associate with somebody, I want to make sure that I'm associating with the right people, because it's very hard in this industry. So I have a very small pool, but honestly, to answer your question in a nutshell, it kind of stemmed from, like, I have this huge seed collection. Here's a problem. What is the solution? And it was the box. It was a curated box from somebody that gives a shit about you as a person, and who's done the research, and doesn't price it to make a huge profit. I price it to just pack value into the boxes, so when you open it, every single person is just blown away with the quality and the value that they got. It's super important to me, and it's something I've been really consistent with. So yeah, it's been that's why.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, Chris is the homie, like the Green Rose Project here says, and Chris he's one of those dudes who, like, he will just like walk up to you and start talking to you, and like he's instantly your friend, and like he's super supportive, and he cares about like people succeeding, and that's like, he embodies support dope people, he embodies, crop culture, he embodies, all the good things that you would want. Like, that's why people support him, and people should support him.
Yep.
He's the
Thank
homie,
you.
for sure. Shout out to Chris. Get that crop culture box. Like, what do you?
And
What
real
do you
quick,
do with your
actually,
life?
before we drop off, because I don't know how we're doing on time, can we talk about the genetics that we have in the box? We have
Yes, please.
99 Moons and 99 Widows.
Mhm.
Your two cultivars. I am personally growing out. I haven't confirmed this with you yet, but I have 5 healthy females, 2 99 Moons, and 3 99 Widows. I verified before I came on the podcast tonight. They're looking great. Those are going to be transitioning into earth boxes / living soil bed as soon as those get available, and I'll do the nice 360s for you and everything. But I was wondering, maybe you can like share a little bit about the lineage of these cultivars and what people can maybe expect when they pick them up in the box.
Yeah, for sure. So right off the bat, it was probably like 2017. I was coming out of the military, and I was listening to this podcast, and I heard Brothers Grimm talking about Cinderella 99, and the story that comes behind Cinderella 99 is it's pretty fun, actually, and I like the fact that that dude goes in, or at least in his past, traveled the world. I got to travel all over the place when I was in the military. And so immediately I had that connection. And the way he talked about it, I was like, oh man, all right, well, I want to grow this. And then so I went out and I ordered a couple of packs and I grew out the first pack, was blown away right off the rip. I think it was only like my third grow that I had ever done. And I was already reaching success and it was fantastic. And it hit me like a truck. And it hit my mom like a truck. Like I said, she was, at that point she was dealing with chemotherapy and her tolerance was pretty high. So like, all right, this is awesome. So Stindy 99 just kind of became like this namestay in my garden. It's been there for years. And I've thought about crossing it with a couple of different things. And I don't know why I kind of had this like hesitation. But I just kind of liked it where it was, right? I liked it to just be where it was. And so eventually I ended up finding a male and I decided to just use that male to cross to a couple of different things. In the meantime, I had found another breeder called Lovin' in Her Eyes, and she puts out some fantastic work. Some people know, but I feel like she's probably understated. Colin from Ethos vouches for her all the time, and I've grown several of her genetics, and I would vouch for her as well. And my favorite one to date was Spanish Moon, and it wasn't like the biggest, heaviest yielder, but the colors that comes with that, the taste and flavors that come with that, the smell and the terpenes, the saturation and trichomes, there's just like so many pluses about that plant. And across the board too, like you can grow out a 6-pack and it's wild because like all 6 of these are going to be bangers. Like they're going to be bangers. And so it carries like the dominant traits that are there are dominant traits, man. They're really dominant. And the recessives that are there, I haven't even hardly found. Like it seems like it's just all dominant traits because they just pass through so well. And so I decided to marry the Cindy 99 with the 99 or with the Spanish Moon and came up with 99 Moons. I know it's kind of out of place because you're supposed to take the male and put it at the end of the name, and the female is supposed to be at the front of the name if you're doing things correctly. But it's my fucking garden. I do what I want.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where that was. And then as far as 99 Widows goes, 99 Widows came from 3 packs of seeds from Greenhouse Seeds. And those were white. They were all White Widow. And White Widow is still to this day, like one of my top 5 for sure strains of all time. And it just made sense. It was like, well, I have this male that is already doing good things. Like I might as well cross this male to White Widow. And sure enough, the pollen took, and it was like saturated with seeds. Actually, the pollen took like really well. And that was pretty much it, man. And then so I grew those out. I've grown several rounds with them now. And at this point, this is like, several years down the road. And I've shared this herb with like all my friends, all the BuildaSoil gang. Like it's pretty stereotypical. We're having a safety meeting. We're probably smoking on one of those too. So
Let's go. I'm a fellow White Widow lover. It's one of those things. It comes from living on the East Coast when I had a tattoo shop. I lived in South Carolina, and White Widow is like, you could go anywhere on the street and be like, hey, do you have weed? And they'd be like, yes, here's some White Widow. It was just so prevalent, and I just love smoking it once in a while. It just hits so good. It does something to my brain, and just kind of like you're describing the one, like you smell it and you're instantly transported back to a place. And you have specific memories about specific times and how you felt, and like the song that was playing, that's like, I love it. I love those old school terps. Like everybody around here is kind of like on the fruit train right now. Like that's kind of what's everybody's crossing stuff with fruit, and it doesn't taste like, it tastes like the analog fruit, you know what I mean?
But
like there's something about those old White Widow terps, or those old like Afghanistan terps, and it's like really hits.
That
really
gets
hits.
you high.
It gets you high.
Yeah, it gets you high.
Exactly.
Well, we talk about that because people talk about giggleweed, and there's been so much genetic crossbreeding and tampering now that I think we probably lost a lot of the nuances of terpenoids and flavonoids and, different overall effects of the plant,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and everybody has like, I mean, at this point, us in this chat, we know that everybody's endocannabinoid system and their receptors take just a little bit differently, right? And so everybody kind of associates with their own strain. And I think that's kind of what I would like to say with my garden is like, I grow things and I chase things that I'm interested in. And
Yep.
if I'm interested in it and I grow it and I love it, then I bring it to work and I share it with all the homies at work. And if they love it and they say that it's like worthy, then I'll probably throw it up on the site, which kind of, I don't want to say shameless plug, but if you're going to go and get seeds, I would say obviously the crop culture box is a great place to start, but also living soil seed. Living soil seed. You guys haven't jumped on there and you love Weeds to Taste Good and you've heard about Miles talk and some of the other Aw Kid and Dave and like, look, the BAS crew, they're over there at Living Soil Seeds. So if you want to get a hold of their stuff, that's a good place to start.
Absolutely.
Yep. And I was going to plug you anyways. And then you could also, I think I would encourage everybody to go to ilovecannabisandcoffee.com as well.
Yeah.
And go check out the selection and pick yourself up a beautiful hoodie.
Yep.
There you go.
Wear it around proudly.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of merch there and it's just kind of stuff that comes out of the garden and stuff that I love. And it's always growing. I'm going to get more coffee centric stuff too. I've got some beans actually from Colombia and Guatemala and Peru and Ethiopia. And so if you decide that you want to grow your own coffee, I'm going to have beans from all those different places as well up there. But I'm vetting them right now. I'm growing them, making sure that they're going to pop, making sure that they're like real. And so, yeah, they'll be up there soon. But
so coffee plants, do they need to be super moist? Could I do that in a tray to grow?
So you could do that in a tray to grow. What I like to tell people, the best way to grow coffee is just make sure that your climate is pretty similar, honestly, to like a grow room or a grow tent, right? Like there's certain conditions, moisture levels and humidity levels that it likes, but you got to kind of think that like coffee grows around the belt, right? And so when you look at all these like regions that coffee is synonymous for, like Guatemala, Peru, Ethiopia, all these places, right? They're right there around the equator. And so there's like, there's this stable climate that's there. And it also is really conducive to like growing great wheat too. Right.
Yeah.
And so now don't get me wrong, like you can grow the Afghanis and stuff and they like it a little bit drier and some higher altitude. I think personally the Afghanis and the one specifically grows so hard here in Western Colorado because, I can tell you from firsthand experience, the climate is actually similar to a lot of regions over in Afghanistan. And so I think that's why it translates.
Yeah.
But as far as coffee goes specifically, I mean, if you've got a good grow climate in your tent, then throw some coffee beans in there and your plant's gonna rage. If it's super dry, you're gonna get like crinkly leaves and it's not gonna do so well. So make sure you got your humidity up a little bit.
I mean, I think the thing I learned this weekend, if nothing else with Miles, is that everybody's chasing that VPD cycle. Like nobody's immune from it. We're all doing it, whether we're dry or too humid or, air conditioned or not, or AC Infinity's latest whatever, just try and control your lung room. You know what I mean? And don't buy first gen stuff because it's probably gonna be first gen stuff.
Yeah, first gen stuff. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, I don't hate on anybody. Like, do whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like,
I don't trust any machine that claims to do everything well.
No,
it can't be a heater and an AC and a dehumidifier all in one and do it all well.
I'm like, what is your load on the, like, what is your amperage load on that? Like, geez Louise, like, that's going to get a little crazy.
You would think.
Yeah.
Turn it on and off all the time, especially in like weird climates where it gets hot, cold, dry, humid. Like you're gonna start, I don't know.
And it's one of those things.
Have a licensed electrician come and check your grow, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. Like nobody wants the worst case scenario, right? Like you don't want to lose your house over the plan.
Right.
So do it smartly for sure. Most of us like we've got something to lose, whether that's a family or whether that's a pet or
Mhm.
whether that's just your hobby itself in your life. Like, yeah,
I
for
was
sure
really glad to
safety first.
see. I was really glad to see Jeremy going through like some electrical safety basic stuff this season on the BuildaSoil, and like like also going through the VPD. I know he did a lot of that for the Living Soil educational website as well, which is super cool. I've
Yep.
gone through that a couple times, but I like to see
Yep.
that it's kind of going back to like, what do you do when everything's overgrown? Well, just keep it simple and do the basics and trellis, and
Yep.
it's we I think people can tell that Build a Soil as a company is really trying to cater to like what's actually going on in the average tent grower's house. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And not
Yeah.
just like, I mean, yeah, we can crush in this big
Yeah.
space we have because we're lucky to have this space, but most people aren't that fortunate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like we would love obviously for everybody to be having a trap lab and getting away with it. But the reality is like, look, a lot of us are growing in a single tent. And
Yeah.
the other reality is this is a new thing and not everybody has been a stoner for forever. A lot of these people are like just jumping in and they're trying to get their feet wet. I can't tell you how many messages like we get literally every single day about like new growers and they're working through problems, and believe it or not, like have patience because you're not alone. Everybody works through these struggles. Like the four of us have all gone through it, and hell, from time to time we still go through it. And so nobody's immune to it, but Jeremy has this like innate pull on the reality of like as much of a master grower as that dude is, he still has a pulse on the reality of like not everybody's there, and so he's just, I don't know, he can somehow identify as a new grower without being a new grower.
Yeah. So what I tell people all the time, if you can't simply explain to somebody what it is that you do, then you don't know it well enough yourself. And he is an absolute expert, but it's his approach and how he's able to look at things holistically and be able to break it down in a simple way that's easy for people to understand of all experience levels.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
something he definitely excels at.
You know why that
Yeah.
is, Chris? Do you know why I think that is? That's because when you have to teach something, you have to learn how to think about it differently when you explain it. And he's done,
Yeah.
we're on season 7 now. Well, technically, he's probably already shooting season 8. I don't know. I'm not on the Patreon, but like he's probably already shooting season 8. He's probably, way ahead of the game. He's done it over and over. And that's why he exudes so much confidence because he's teaching, you know?
Master the basics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Master
It's
the
awesome.
basics, and then you can like evolve. I mean, I think it's the same thing with breeding. Like I encourage it. Some I've heard people say like, why are you telling people to grow out like your regular seeds and keep the males? I'm like, duh, because I don't care about the money. I care about sharing this and getting the more people we can to grow and breed and like do this, right? Like act with some efficacy, obviously. Like don't go
Yeah.
blast the field and share a bunch of like Hermy genetics or whatever stuff that throws bananas everywhere. Act with some
Yeah.
efficacy, right? But at the same time, like, bro, this is about overgrow. Like everybody needs to grow. As many people as we can get, like that's what we
Yeah.
need. So
You know, uh, I'm getting reg seeds. I've only grown fem seeds, and in the crop culture box, I'm getting reg seeds from people, and I can't wait with the Farmer Freeman,
yep,
right? Yeah, okay.
farmer
I
friendly.
want to,
Yeah.
yeah, Farmer Freeman. I'm gonna be able to like test my regs, find out which ones are males, move them over to a different
Mm-hmm.
area. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
super excited about actually growing some regs for the first
Yep.
time.
Yeah, and
'Cause
there's like different ways too to see it. I think I want to say just this last season, actually, Jeremy showed that you can start seeing and picking out your males. I completely endorse Farmer Freeman. Don't
yeah,
get me wrong, but I mean you can grow in a veg environment and you can still identify your males even without sending out a sample. You know, some people have been like, well, I don't have the money to go out and just pay for tissue samples. Well, that's fine, bro. Like, by all means, just grow them out a little while, be a little bit patient, and then keep your male off to the side or your males off to the side and grow your females, man. Keep the male in the veg state so he's not
Yeah.
pollinating everything, you know, but you can totally, that's why I say, like, this perpetual growth thing is such a cool thing. And you don't have to have like some crazy setup, because the reality is you can hold a male under just a regular light. Like, you're not trying to put the max intensity or hit this certain point in order to like unlock the best flower you've ever had. Like, no, just keep the male alive, right? Keep it under the 18.6 or 24, whatever you decide that your light schedule is gonna be. Keep it in
Yeah.
veg, and then flower your flowers and your females, and you know, bring that male in when time is ready.
So what do you look for in males? Like, what do you specifically like for somebody who's growing regs for the first time? Like, I
Uh-huh.
don't really have any interest in breeding per se, but if I found like a cool ass male, I would definitely
Mhm.
keep it around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. Like me personally, I have to find out what traits the male's passing along. So like the beauty of growing perpetually the way that I do for like the years that I've done it is like I've been able to kind of find out which males pass on the traits that I want. And I think that that's only done through the experience of watching that pollen get float around and let that pollen take over several different crosses and then find out exactly what traits are synonymous across all those different genotypes. And so I pull from that. But if I was going to say like a new person is going to go out and they want to make their first cross, I would say, look, grow a male, find the male. If there's like three of them, find the one that's growing the fastest and is showing the most vigor. Find the male that has leaves that you identify with that you like. Some people like the really narrow leaves. Some people like the really fat leaves. You know, find out the way you like your fingers and your serrations. If you've got something that's super serrated, just something that speaks to you because this is your garden,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
make it yours and just find the male that gravitates to you and then use that male and throw some pollen on one of the females that you like. You know, grow your females out and take a clone. You know, take a cutting of your favorite. And I would say just, you know, the biggest thing is probably is like, I think maybe the most important thing is for like your initial male is vigor. Because you want something to be strong, you want something to be a natural grower, you want a big root zone. The bigger the roots, the bigger the fruits, right? Generally
Yeah.
speaking. And that's not to say that you can't find special characteristics in other ways. But you know, find your big, strong, healthy breeder male, right? Get a
Okay.
stud, find a
Yeah.
stud,
Okay.
you know?
I like it.
So, yeah.
I
And then
think
other than that,
that's solid. That's real
yeah,
solid because I'm regrowing some stuff that I grew earlier this year that was really good, and that some I enjoyed, my friends enjoyed. So like growing it out again, and now I'm gonna grow some males. So maybe I'll find a good male or something and cross it with that. That'll be cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
so one of the tips that I was told by Goat, our good friend Goat
Hmm.
Genetics, grow your regs under a CFL bulb, just a standard
Yeah.
incandescent bulb, because the frequency, it kind of like shutters. You can't see it with the naked eye, but it does something to the plant that has them expose their genitals earlier on.
Okay.
Then yeah, so if it's a matter, I mean, you're going to save electricity for one.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your males to get huge if you're trying to identify whether it's male or female. So it'll keep them smaller, and you could use less space, and then that way you can get them to show early, and you know, flip them to a regular light at that point.
I'm excited now. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome. That's a new one on me. So now I'm gonna go out and buy a CFL just so I can try it out. I love trying
Yeah,
stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I
let's
mean,
see it.
I've done CFL like popping seeds before back in the day, like when I was
Yeah,
younger. Like it works fine. Like T5 lights work fine. You know what I mean? You just
bro. Yeah,
yeah.
that was the thing. Like, what was it? Sun Grow or Sun something had this big ass light that was a T5 light, and it was like an 8 bar light.
Hmm.
And I used that thing for years. That was like my veg standard.
That's awesome. I used to get them because I was a commercial painter and I would paint warehouses, and there would always be electricians in there ripping out lights and stuff. And anytime
Uh-huh.
they had big T5 lights or something, I would snag them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. And that's how
yep,
we used to grow hydro back in the day. T5
yep,
lights. Hot as shit.
yep. I love reminiscing over stuff, actually.
I mean, there's something about it. There's something about the CFL lights. There's something about the metal halide lights. Like, they're all good. But I think
Yep,
LED has changed the way that people can grow because you don't have the electricity costs, you don't have the
yep,
heat anymore.
yep,
You're not gonna
yep,
like get caught by the police driving around in your attic anymore. Like they would
yep,
back in the day.
yep. You can have
And
your plants closer to the light now without
yeah,
messing up your plants. Like,
you can like drop your lights right on your plants. I have friends that like stretch and then they just drop the lights right on them and full
yep,
blast them. And it's
yep,
like, okay, dude,
yep,
but like they grow fire. They grow absolute fire. Like,
yep.
yeah, I love it, man. That's awesome. All right, well, we're coming up on like an hour and a half. I'm sure at some point, because I know you're an hour behind us, you're gonna want to get some dinner or something, right?
Uh, you guys caught me. I sent my family to go and like eat and do their own thing. So honestly, I could stay on here for as long as you guys are comfortable. But if an hour and a
Same.
half is
No,
gonna
no,
cut
no,
it,
no,
then
no. I want to make sure. I just wanted to give you an easy out. I know Pete's probably got some time. Chris, you got some time, right?
Yeah, of course.
Chat's got some time. Root Nerd's got some time. Green Rose Project. Joe S. I don't want to like really like kill his last name, but like, he says he's all ears. So let's keep going. I'm having
nice.
fun. Can you tell
Yeah.
me about the one? Like, I'm intrigued by this. The passionate way that you talk about it excites me as
Yeah.
another grower, and I want to hear about it.
Yep. So I got the cut from Jeremy, and there's a few of them floating around now because Jeremy just open sources everything. It's just the same as his knowledge. Like he has clones literally just there in the shop, and people come and pick them up. And so it is. You remember when I was talking about like the local thing here?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, man. Like this plant is shared here in the Western Slope. Like, so it's unlocked. It is floating around, and I'll say like the very first thing about it is I brought it home from Jeremy, and I guess the lineage on this is actually some Afghani. This is a Coots cross, and there's
Shout out
Afghani.
Coots.
Yep, shout out Coots, and specifically, I think it's Afghani Hindu Kush,
Okay.
specifically. And the other side to it is tie sticks, like the old school 1980s when it was coming over here in literal sticks. Yeah. So tie sticks is the other side of it. And I'll just say this: my wife is a combat veteran as well. She went to Afghanistan, and without saying a damn thing to her, I brought it home, and I was like, "Laura, you have to smell this." And she, at this point, like I've been growing for years, but like kind of we've been growing for years, right? And so she laughs
Right.
and she's like, "All right, it's still in veg, right? This is a clone." And so I was like, "Smell this," and she smelled it, and her eyes got big and her head went back, and she was like, "That's Afghanistan." I was like, "Yeah, I fucking know. That's why I told you got to smell this."
That's
It's wild.
awesome.
It's so loud. Afghanistan, like the Affy in that is bonkers. Like I know that there's tie sticks in there, but all I'm smelling is Affy. And right now, I had it in a grow space in the tray to grow until it got a little bit bigger, and then I pushed it outside. And so right now it's outside, and I'm gonna see how it does outside this year, and I'll pull clones, here in a couple of weeks and bring them back inside. So I'm saving genetics, but this first round, I just want to see what it looks like come October. You guys come down here, and if nobody else has the one, like I'll share some, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm actually kind of just as excited as you guys are to flower this. Like I can't freaking wait. So
Dude, that's awesome. Like, I love old school genetics. I love just,
1984, bro.
yeah, dude. Like, let's go. Like, it's just, and he's just been chilling on it because he's like, I know
Yeah,
someday. and like some days now. And like shout out to Coots for being open source about all we always say, like, shout out Coots, Subcool, Farmer John, all the forum guys, back in the day, WeedTube, like all that good stuff that we all were, just love. And people just sharing their stuff is, I can't wait. November can't come quick enough. I think it's going to be even better now, because just like last year, Miles came to the Goat Cup in Illinois with Martin, and then went home and planned the whether he knew it before or not, did the Living Soil Cup, and now he came here for our educational event and then our farmers market. I think this year is going to be very proper. I think it's going to be yeah. We were right next to the dab bar, and just like, he was just like,
what's that?
Let's go Chicago.
Pleasantly surprised is what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome, and like, we respect him for what he does too. And like, the fact that he would come out here during a busy season, like, I can't thank that dude enough. All you BuildaSoil guys are super cool. Like, I've never had a bad experience with the BuildaSoil person. Like, everybody's always been just like so cool. And then you meet other Living Soil people, and we're all just like, it's like people who play disc golf. We're all a bunch of like weird niche sport players. Now we're all a bunch of not so weird niche crunchy Living Soil growers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely do.
Jeremy says it takes over your life, and it really does. It bleeds over into everything. You start thinking about what you're eating and what you're putting into your worm compost pile that you're going to feed to your bokashi later, and like how that goes into your bed a year down the road. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it makes you start thinking about. And then like, what am I putting into my body? Like, what am I doing to balance my ecosystem? How am I balancing my endocannabinoid system?
It's weird how it happens, man. It really does take over. I've heard, I don't even know how many stories, man. So many people that have told me this whole thing about, like, I started growing, I got on the BuildaSoil thing, and now I'm eating healthy. Several people have reached out and been like, I'm into jiu-jitsu now, and like all these like healthy lifestyle changes, more patient, more friendly with their family. I don't know, Chris, if you can relate, but I know I sure as hell can. When I first got out of the military, I'm not going to say I was a bad person by any means, but I was a little on edge. I was impatient. I was always trying to like go. Like, even, the family, I was like, oh my God, you guys have your shoes on. Like, let's get out the door. And now I'm like, yo, I'm going to step into the garage real quick. You guys take as much time as you want. I'll see you in the car.
Oh man.
And like, dude, my kids have even said I'm a better dad. Like, it's weird. It's weird. And honestly, it kind of, like, a little bit of it pisses me off that like this has been so in the shadows for so long. Cause I think of all the time there's all the time that's been lost, but there's all the lives that have been lost. Like, how many,
100%.
I mean, we don't even need to jump into the topic of people being in prison for this, but like, it does piss me the fuck off about that kind of stuff. Like, it's such a wonderful plant. There's so much potential in this, and here we are just now coming into light with it.
And all it's being done is being taxed and federalized, and name one thing that the government has ever taken over that's been cheaper, more efficient, or better.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We don't need to, we need to keep them out of cannabis. We need to free market cannabis. We need to actually let the actual free market regulate itself. You know what I mean?
Yep. Best case scenario, it would be treated like tomatoes at the farmer's market.
Dude, have you seen New York's new home grow laws?
I haven't. I've heard that it's pretty wild, but I haven't.
Oh my God. Shout out, my podcast comes out tomorrow at noon where we talk about it. But New York has the best cannabis laws, 6 plants per person. You have to take common sense measures, like have odor control, plant companion plants. You can grow outside. You can double up and you can have 12. Landlords can't tell you that you cannot grow. It's illegal unless they would lose federal
Wow.
funding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
big step because I really didn't think being so East Coast and so deep rooted in politics that things would be like that. I'm kind of mind blown.
It's true social equity. It's common sense,
Wow.
true social equity. They already have the home grow farmers market rules from last year where you can actually grow and be a caregiver type person, grow cannabis and actually sell it at a farmer's market. Now in New York, it has to be, the point of sale has to be a dispensary. That is like the point.
Okay.
But
Sure.
there is a actual way for people to use this plant in the correct way. They can grow cannabis medicine for people who need actual medicine. Sure, the THC is fun, the fuck it all is fun, all long-term cannabis use is medicinal use, but people can actually start a business, do it the correct way, pull themselves up, contribute to taxes in the market in the right way, and actually do something good with this plant that they want to do and provide for people who actually need it. New
Yeah.
York wins. New York
Yeah.
wins. And I talk about it that way because I want to point Illinois that way, because New York is a Democratic state. We're a
Yeah.
Democratic state. Let's point, argue with the right from the right, argue with the left from the left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't point to like some like crazy red state and be like, hey, Illinois, be like that. They're gonna be like, no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. It's
We can
a difficult thing. Yeah.
we can point to that and be like, look, we can do that too, because like that would be fantastic for us. And
Yeah.
by the way, that starts July 12th.
Yeah. That's sick. And that
And
brings up a whole, go ahead.
they've only been legal for a year. Look how fast the government can move when they want to.
Yeah. That's the thing, is when they want to. Yeah. I mean, I would like to know, I kind of like, as a background guy, I would like to know what's going on in the background. Like, who are those activists? Like, who's getting in touch with the legislators? Like, how? Because it seems so wild to me that like they're so deeply enrooted in like the taxation of things that like a taxation, the government has to, like, whether we like it or not, the government has to win to some degree because it's the United States government. Like they have to win to some degree, right?
Yes, you're
But
not
so
wrong.
they have to get their piece of the taxation. I understand that. But at the same time, like the citizen has to win as well. And so there has to be this like happy medium. And so if like what you're saying, this farmers market somehow ties into the dispensary, that honestly kind of reminds me of what a lot of people here in Colorado call the backpack days, right? Like back in the day for Colorado, everything first started commercially getting legalized for recreation. And we literally had home growers that were bringing literal backpacks into the dispensaries to sell their product to the dispensary. The taxation and everything and cut would be taken right there on the spot. And then they'd leave with their piece, and the dispensary would have their piece to go ahead and distribute. And then the dispensary would get taxed off the top of that. And so there was like a double tax that was going on, which a lot of people are like kind of bummed out about. But at the same time, like it is what it is, man. It was still a market that was free to some degree, right?
Right.
And that helped because there was also a couple of things that went into play too, is like a lot of people would argue that quality control was also good in a lot of places because you had like real people that were vetting real product that was coming in the door versus putting the product or the profit before the product. They were putting the product before the profit because they had to take in a good product before they could get a return profit.
Right.
So like realistically, like you were getting a better product on the back end, or you knew up front that you were getting like a mediocre product up front, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The backpack days, I kind of wish that the backpack. First of all, I wish I could have taken part, but I was in the Army and I couldn't even touch cannabis, so it is what it is.
Well,
but I would have loved
you're busy
to
doing
like
other
live.
stuff, like jumping out of
Yeah.
planes and helicopters and stuff.
Of which I miss. Like to this day, I still miss jumping out of
I
planes.
bet your knees don't miss it.
No, they don't. They remind me every time I go running. So Yeah, I've been doing like I've got this 3-year-old, and so I've been doing a lot of 5K races because that's what my wife likes running. And so I push a stroller, and let me tell you, like every 5K pushing that stroller, my knees are like screaming at me, and they're like, "Hey, man, why are we doing this?" And then my
I
psyche
mean,
jumps in. It's like because it's the runner's high. Like I don't
I
know. I
I
get
can't
high, and then
I
I get a
can't
runner's
find
high.
the
So.
I can't find the runner's high. I hate running. Chris is like, I can make you love it. And I was like, nope, never. Chris is a runner as well. I didn't know you guys are.
Chris,
It's got
you're
to
a
be a
runner too?
military thing, right?
No,
Probably, yeah.
I hated it in the military. This is something more recent. I started doing it like 3, 4 years ago, and worked up to like I was doing half marathons. But I had two back surgeries last year. Neither of them went well. I'm still not fixed, and I haven't run in like a month. Kind of feel like shit about it, but
Mm.
my priorities have changed. I'm no longer about just beating myself up over long distances and trying to get my pace down and all that shit like I was hyper focused on. It's just more about being healthy and keeping my heart healthy. So I'll probably transition to like hiking or something like that, just to you know
Play disc golf with me.
Yeah,
maybe.
you'll get in your steps without a doubt.
Hey, wait. There's collectible discs. There's collectibles, Chris. There's actually
I
big
don't
money
need another
collectibles.
collectible,
I know. I'm
Marcus.
trying to entice you to play disc golf with me.
That's
I'm
got
telling.
enough of
There's
a budget.
like $2,000 discs. It's crazy.
I don't want this.
I know, but I'm just trying to get you. I'm just trying to, devil on
I
your
will
shoulder.
try it one day if like the opportunity presents itself. I definitely will try it.
So, Gabe, you don't care what you putt with, right? So if I just send you a putter, it doesn't matter what kind.
Oh, dude, I'm an open yes.
Okay, bet.
I'm all about trying new things. Like I said, variety is the spice of life. And if you've got a putter that you swear by, dude, I will give it a shot. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sending you a Wizard. Gateway Wizard is the best putter. Every other
Really?
putter is based off the Wizard. They're amazing, and I can get them stamped. So I'm gonna send you guys some cool shit.
Dude, that would be sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be sick.
Yeah, find out that other thing that I asked you, because like I would love to get a
Yep.
putter that and make.
I'm working on it. Thursday I'll have your answer.
Cool, you're the man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, we talked about the one.
Yep.
We talked about the Living Soil Cup. You're going to
Yep.
judge this year, probably, right? If they ask you, maybe. Or are you going to enter this year? Are you going to enter? Are you going to surprise enter this year?
I think this year I'm gonna. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna enter this year. I've got a really close friend of mine, and he has shown me. Look, I love hash. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a flower guy by nature. I've loved flower. That's what I am, and I'll shout him out here a little bit. But the humble hasher on Instagram, if you guys know him, jump on there and follow that guy. He's an incredible human being, and it also just so happens that he makes some fire. Like the rosin that comes to that dude's. This is like.
Yes. This is yes. Yes.
It's like I wish you guys could smell this. I just barely take the cap off of it, and like already the room is getting nuked.
It looks stinky and cheesy, and I like that it's moist and
And it's months old, man. This is like 2 months old. It's still just it's ridiculous. So anyhow, he opened my eyes, specifically my third eye, and it just like
love and light, baby.
Yeah. So I think that him and I are going to jump in together. I'm going to grow, and he's going to wash, and we're going to come to terms and see where we land. So I don't know. If Miles wants me to judge, I'm going to probably have to very respectfully decline this year, just because I've already got obligations with my buddy, and I think we're going to go through that.
I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic.
Plus, I'd like to see where.
Little Heisenberg brothers right here.
Oh,
right.
Little Heisenberg brothers. I don't know. One of the ones.
Oh, that's gonna be the Paonia Glue Skies from
cool.
Crop Culture.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Nice.
I got to try that, by the way, Chris. Like at some point, I need to get a cut from you or something because I want to grow
Well,
that out.
did you know that you can go
Very
right to
done.
cropculture.net right now and get cuts? You know, he just started doing that last week. I didn't know if
No,
you knew
say it
that.
isn't so.
Swear to God, you can actually get quality cuts delivered to your house, shipping in the United States. Cropculture.net. Go check out
It's
my friend Chris. He's a really cool guy. And yeah, I
it's
beat you
almost
to
like
it,
he's
Canicuz.
it's almost like he's providing solutions to problems that we all have.
It's almost like it's his job to identify markets and where they may or may not perform and
Yep.
trends.
I could tell you where they're not performing.
You know what, dude?
So we're not gonna go there.
That's a Chris thing though. Chris, you're not making $1 million yet, but you're doing great, bro. You really are. I know how you are, but you're literally doing great. I was telling you earlier, Miles and I were talking about you. You're doing great. Miles believes in you. Look, Gabe believes in you. You know that. Yeah.
The whole team. The whole
I
team,
appreciate
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris
means a
Chris
lot.
is just, because he's so analytical, he is just, that's who Chris is. This is my friend Chris. I'm not exposing you or anything. I'm just saying this is how Chris is. He's analytical. That's what makes him phenomenal at his job.
And a
But he
phenomenal grower.
overthinks things sometimes. He's like, why did I only sell 50 boxes when I wanted to sell 1,500? And you're like, yeah, but dude, you sold 50 boxes. That's freaking great. Like, dude, I'm happy when like 30 people showed up to my living soil and ferments class. Like, you just got to do the thing and not give a shit and just keep doing the thing and just be genuine and consistent. Am I right?
Absolutely.
You
Baby
guys are
steps.
my
Yeah, I mean,
friends. I know you guys hear me say this shit to you guys all the time.
everybody's seen the whole Bill Gates thing, right? Like his little office, the picture that's like infamous, right?
Yep.
Everything starts from somewhere.
Yep. Look, just
So
packs of stickers. We're gonna show pictures of Chris with his packs of stickers and his like all his seeds behind him someday. And this was the office that crop culture was started, and now he's some, whatever.
probably have his own island, of
I
which I'm gonna spending a lot of time at.
Yeah, dude, I want a hammock at the island.
Can I
I
be
wanna
honest with you? Like,
Yeah.
if money wasn't even an issue, I don't know that my life. I know for a fact my lifestyle wouldn't change if I came into like a huge influx of money. If this thing just out of nowhere, federal regulations loosened on what we're allowed to post, and I go viral or something, like my lifestyle wouldn't change. I wouldn't go buy a fancier car or a fancier house. I would be. I've said this
These are
all along. It's like I want to be able to scale what I can give back appropriate to, proportionately to kind of like where I'm at with the business, and yeah, I feel like it
Still
wouldn't
smoking weed and
change
hanging
shit.
with the homies.
Yeah,
It's
dude. Like every
absolutely,
time you
dude.
go over to Chris's house, let me tell you, every time I've been over to Chris's house, he's like, "Hey, let's check out the garden," and then we check out the garden, and then he's like, "Hey, come upstairs to the office," and he shows me all this cool shit, and he gives
Yep.
me 100 stickers each, and he's like, just like,
You walk
would
away
give
with
you.
box.
Yeah, you walk away with like
Right.
half a crop culture box that you're like, he's just like, here, take this. Like, I love you, dude. Like, Chris is just that guy. Like, he cultivates boxes for people. He lets people do payment plans. Like,
Yep.
just keep doing it, dude. Keep doing what you're doing. Like,
Yep. Yep.
that's
I
all any of
appreciate
us
it.
can do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who says what. Like, I told you guys a year ago I was gonna start this thing, and like here we are doing it. You know what I mean? Like the community just keeps growing, and like the mycelium network is just stretching out to Colorado now, and stretching up to Michigan and Minnesota and Wisconsin, and like
Wow.
we're doing this living soil conglomerate. We're making this like mafia, homie thing happen. Like,
Have you guys
like.
heard the whole like story behind BuildaSoil and him starting it literally in his garage?
I have. Oh.
Yeah. It's like it's a real thing, man. I think about maybe 11 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, somewhere around that region, literally in his garage, mixing his own his own soil,
Yep.
reading the forums, sourcing his own inputs, and then unlocking it to the world. So it takes a community for it to happen, but if you don't, I hate to say, have the balls to just step up and try and make your dreams happen, dude, he says it all the time. He preaches it all the time in the company. And like I've heard him say it a couple of times on YouTube, but he'll tell us all the time. He's like, dude, I'm blessed. It's like straight up, I'm fortunate because I'm doing what I love.
Yep.
And you can see it. It shows, man. And it's not just him, it's other people in the community that are going out there and they're hustling. You can see Miles got all kinds of success, but that dude is humble as they get. He's as down to earth and grounded as they get, and he's still out there hustling and just he wants to share in the people, in the homies, in the community, and he wants to meet people and he wants to share the love, and like you can feel that. And I think it's the same thing, you know. It's this podcast is getting out there and it's reaching people, and I see the comments blowing up right now. Everybody's like 100% and throwing the shotguns, and like it's the fucking truth, man. Like embracing the moment because we're living it. These are the good old days.
Yeah,
we're living them.
Yeah, the good days are right now. You know, like you don't get to appreciate them until you get to remember them. That's why it's important to like just reject the negativity, find your happiness, find what you're passionate about, and fuck everybody else. Don't read the comments. I mean, read the comments of the live stream, but like, don't read the comments. Who cares about the negative? Who cares? Only you.
There's always gonna be negative. Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So, tell us some good BuildaSoil stories. You said you were willing to talk behind the scenes. Like, we all know, like, everybody wants to ask about Jeremy, blah, 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 blah. Jeremy's chill. Jeremy's cool. Jeremy is the, de facto voice for living soil in the United States right now. BuildaSoil is our mecca. All praise Jeremy. He'd probably he'd be like, who is this guy saying this shit? But we all know he's humble as shit. So like, tell us some other cool shit that goes on at BuildaSoil.
So the behind the scenes guys poke fun at Jeremy all the time.
Nice.
And Jeremy pokes fun back. So you could think of like, we all make jokes. Currently we've got walkie-talkies that we talk, interdepartmentally, and we all have our own little channels that are like our department for like strict business stuff. But we also have a channel that's just kind of like open net, and we like to joke with each other, man. And even interdepartmentally, there's like, I don't want to call them rivalries, but we'll say like MFG, right? Manufacturing. Those guys are the people that like bring craft, right? Like all the smaller products, 1 pound, 10 pound, 5 pound bags. That's all coming out of MFG and this guy named Brock. And he's also an incredible human being, full of laughter and jokes. And he's always poking fun at people. And interdepartmentally, there is definitely like a little bit of rivalry. We give each other shit. I'll tell you my day. I'm gonna share this anyhow. I don't care. Jeremy told me he's like, look, man, we
only got 73 subscribers. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So so it was like day 3.
Yeah.
So day 3, right? I come in and they just hired me on, and they're like, yep, here's your building. Like, this is the facility. Like, we need you to manage this. These are all your people. Like, da 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 da. And I'm like, kind of overwhelmed at that point because there's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And this guy drives by in a forklift, and he lifts up his shirt and he's like doing this number with his nipple. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, what is this? He takes his hands off the forklift and he's like, hey man. And he like runs by with a shirt. And I look over and I look at like Dan and I look at Brock and I'm like, what the fuck am I stepping into? Like, what is this?
And they're like, no, it's actually cool.
Bro, from that point on, it has been like straight up family. Like, the people that are in there are brothers and sisters. When I go down to shipping and fulfillment departments, Kushan that runs that, and Crystal, and like people that fulfill things, like I literally go down there and we literally hug each other, like quite literally hug each other and embrace each other when we show up. And it's family, man. When you go back over there, it's family at BuildaSoil, and I think there's like, I don't know, 40 or 50 employees or something like that. Like it's a small business without a doubt, but I mean, it's big enough that I am surprised that it's as family as it is.
That's, I mean, but I mean, if you're doing that, you're probably very passionate about what it is that you do. You know,
Oh yeah,
like it can't be an easy job. I'm assuming in my head, being in enough manufacturing facilities, like there's lots of machines and there's dirt and
yeah,
there's, you
yeah,
know, and then it's a farm and then it's just like outside and then it's dusty and hot
yeah,
and
yeah,
annoying and shitty and oily. And so
yeah.
like, who wants to deal with that unless like you're actually like you believe in what you do?
Well, and that's the
I'm not
thing. Is
saying
like,
like it's the worst job in the world. I'm just saying like it's not for everybody.
no, this is the thing. Is like everybody has their own thing that have you ever read the book called Multipliers? Do you read
Mm,
much?
I do read a lot, but I have not read that.
Okay, so there is a lady, I believe her name is Ann Wiseman, and she has created a book called The Multipliers. It's actually like a fairly older book, but you'll know which one it is because it looks like a light bulb with a bunch of faces and it's all yellow.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's like,
How the best leaders make everyone smarter. Yeah. Okay.
that's it. So
Yep.
multipliers, right? And this is Jeremy had not heard of that book either. And so
That was
I
not in
actually
my leadership reading list when I was. Yeah.
It should have been. It should have been because there are so many things from the military that I learned, like learning from the goods and the bads and how to create multipliers is just what the book says in its title. You want to create multipliers all around you, right? And that's what Build a Soil does as much and as often as we can, is like from the lowest level, brand new rookie guy, all the way up to Jeremy. Like we literally try and create multipliers around us, put the best person in the best fit. So like
And
if you go
cross
to
train them all.
fulfillment, yeah, and cross train them all, right? Cross contamination is the key. And so
Yep.
like if you go to fulfillment, it's cleaner work over there, but those guys are literally just nonstop, like clicking things off, like boom, 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 and it's relentless because the orders are relentless, right? They just don't stop over there. If you go to the soil department where we're at, like the work is dirtier. We put in sweat equity, but like we'll hustle really freaking hard and we'll kind of earn our breaks and then we'll take our safety break and our safety meetings and we'll hang out and give each other fist bumps, tell some stories, and then get back and like we're hustling again. And so
Put
there's
some.
different dynamics. And the beauty about this, and so this guy Dan Ramsey that I keep on talking about, he's not on social media very much, if any at all, but he's an unsung hero. Is like this dude knows how to marry people in the best ways to fit their job. And so what he'll do is he'll find somebody that might not be a good fit in one department and he'll shift them into another department where they are a good fit, and all of a sudden they flourish because they're doing like the type of work and the style of work that fits with their personality and what they're into. And I think that's what's key. I think it's what's missing in a lot of other companies is a lot of other companies will just hire somebody because they're accolades, and then they'll sit somebody in one position and things kind of inherently become toxic because they're not happy in the position that they're at, and that toxicity translates. With Build a Soil, it's not that way. Like we put the right person in the right seat and they're happy inherently when they're doing their day-to-day routine and it manifests. And next thing you know, you got a fucking company full of happy people that are doing what they love. And then that translates to people like this, and podcasts like this. Like fuck, I wouldn't talk as openly as I am if it wasn't the case,
Right.
you know?
And look at
I
all the
mean,
people who started at BuildaSoil and like are doing cool things. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The entrepreneurship that's going on
yeah.
there is wild.
Because you
Yeah.
guys are all sharing the love with each other, and that's what I love. Like, Build a Soil has enabled me as an actual registered caregiver in Illinois who grows cannabis for my medical patient. Like, I help her grow cannabis for her actual condition. Build a Soil has like enabled me to be able to do that very easily, and you guys just exude that, and it's just inspired, I think, like a whole nation, like all these living soil growers to just like be open source and share with the homies and just like, you know, just try and support the community that we have.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
infectious.
Yeah, it is infectious. And all things are kind of infectious, right? Toxicity is infectious, positivity is infectious, and so it's like which one do you want to feed, right? Like you can feed the good or you can feed the bad. So feed the
Feed your
good,
head. Feed your head, man. Take care
feed your head,
ahead.
feed the good. Yeah,
You got to be like
yeah,
Miles and literally and figuratively bring the ganja with you.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I saw somebody, the outdoor grower said a couple of things in the comments. I don't know if it's like kosher to read comments while we're on
Oh,
the
no,
podcast.
please do. Please.
Okay. So he said, sign me up. Like, there is actually, to anybody that's listening right now, just so you know, there is a job posting page on the BuildaSoil website. If you're fucking serious about working at BuildaSoil, I mean, do you guys know, are familiar with Eric from Thriving?
Yes.
Okay. He moved
Upcoming
from,
podcast guest.
okay, well, he came from another state and jumped in with BuildaSoil, and he's living in Western Colorado, and he's working at BuildaSoil, right? And he's part of the family. So I'm not going to say that happens for everybody, but what I am saying is like the possibilities out there, and the first step to this is to reach out, jump on the page, go and throw out your application, see what comes of it. Like you never know until it happens. So yeah, it is what it is, man. Oh, and then he also said one more thing. Can you come in hungover? I highly encourage, at least on my team, everybody to not come in hungover, because when we come into work, like, don't get it wrong, like we're all smiles and laughy here on the podcast, but like we go into fucking hustle. Like I jumped out of airplanes and went to combat. My wife did. Like I have high expectations for my crew, and I know I'm not the only director that has high expectations for their crew.
And
So
I
like
bet you're the hardest worker, aren't you?
well, no, actually, that's
when you're
Mike.
out there, I
Oh,
bet you're the
actually,
hardest worker.
I try to be, man. Honestly, I try and just keep up.
Yeah.
Probably Chris. We have, so our line master, Chris. He's probably like the hardest worker that I've ever come across in the civilian sector. That dude's a hustler. But it's the work hard, play hard philosophy,
Yeah.
right? Like we have cookouts at BuildaSoil, and everybody gets off work, and not even off work, like we're paid and we cook out, right? But at the same time, like we also get slammed. You know, when Jeremy does these sales, it's no bullshit work. You go in there and like, but we show up at 6:30, and we hustle all day until 5 o'clock, and you know it's work hard, play hard. So don't come in hungover. At least that's what I would advise.
Yeah. Who wants to come in hungover and then have to do work? Like, man, there's so much better stuff you can do to start your day.
No, I know it was a joke.
I
The
know,
outdoor
yeah.
players throwing another comment. I know it's a joke. I'm just saying, like,
I don't think they drink as much on the Western Slope. I think
probably not.
I think that's an Eastern Slope thing, right? Like that's over there where they don't share.
Fired.
They don't share, and on the Western Slope, everybody's cool with each other. That's kind of what
we do have a lot of microbreweries over here. Like everybody's passionate about their IPAs for some reason. I can't stand IPAs. I'm a darker beer drinker.
Have you guys done anything with like micro emulsions? I think that's honestly the wave of the future. I think micro emulsions and CBD and being able to pick terpenoids and CBD and mixing them together is probably like we're gonna have like robots that do that in the future. Like old timey robots like back by the soda thing and like just picking everything out and then like mixing everything in a tincture for you. I think that's gonna be the way to go.
That would be wild.
You could actually take your health back into your own hands if we made that wide scale, like some sort of vending machine.
And you can pick your cannabinoids and like somehow pair it with your endocannabinoid system, and it works.
Exactly.
That'd be sick.
Somebody do that, please.
Somebody do it.
Yeah. We've just got the ideas. We can't get it all done. Pete, you okay over there? Are you super high?
No, I'm just chilling. I've been sitting for so long. I'm starting to get all like, the nerve pain and all that stuff.
I'm sorry. I feel like, It's all good.
These seats are so old though.
This
My bad.
Paonia Blue Sky is really well done. This is
Thank
really,
you, man.
yeah, this is smooth as
What
shit.
terps are you getting from that?
I get that like fresh. A lot of times I get like the fresh oniony. There's some earth to it. It's tasty. I like it. I might have to hit it again to tell you. Maybe I
Are the
forgot.
effects?
I mean,
I'm ready
I've been
for
sitting
another
here
hit.
chatting away with Gabe the whole time. Chris, jump in. Feel free.
My phone is literally at 1%, and it can't. It's plugged in, and it can't even keep up. And I have my brightness down and everything, so I'm about to drop it any second. So
That's
if
fine.
I just go and sign off, then you'll know why.
I'm not gonna lie. It is 9 o'clock, and I haven't
It is
eaten
9
all
o'clock.
day.
And jump over to El Canisur's page. We love him. He's the fucking
I think they're
man.
gonna be on Untrained.
Untrained tonight? Untrained
yeah, I think
Astronaut.
He made a last-second decision to cancel.
Cool. Shout out to those homies, man. Shout out to everybody else streaming on Tuesday nights. We love everybody that was in the comments. We had like a bunch of people over in YouTube, a bunch of people over in Twitch, and then I'll edit it down for everything else. But hey,
So
Gabe,
where can we find you?
thank you, Pete.
So I'm only on Instagram. I don't do any other social media. And even my Instagram, I keep notifications off. I just check into it periodically throughout the day. But you can find me at Gabe_18 or Gabe_Wilson18. You can also jump onto the email at contact@ilovecannabisandcoffee.com. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, jump on, call us at BuildaSoil. You can shout me out there, and ask for Gabe at BuildaSoil.
Green Mountain Preservations.
That's right.
Green Mountain Preservations is the seed line for sure. And so that's just at Green Mountain Preservations. No underscores, no special characters, nothing. Just at Green Mountain Preservations. You can contact me there too. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure enough.
I can't wait to grow your seeds. I can't wait to see you in November, dude. I mean, I know we're gonna talk again, but this was super fun. I know Chris had fun. I know Pete had fun.
I definitely had fun.
And dude, thanks for coming on. Let's definitely do this again. Like for real.
Yeah. Just give me a shout, man. I'm here. I'm all about it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right. Well, hey guys, wait till you see who we grow with next.